Hello. This is Real and Raw with Lynn. And who are
And
you?
Brian's here. Brian's here. Mhm.
Hi, Brian. I think we got a little of delay today.
Yes, we do.
That's okay. We'll pause. And I'll probably say, this is Lynn and I'm done. How was your weekend, Brian?
It was busy. I was busy with my girlfriend's family. So,
Oh, you're such a good boyfriend. So proud of you. Oh, we've got Tracy watching already. Good morning, Tracy. I am super, super excited about this week because as we are unscripted, so are we unscripted of how we're going to take this week, kind of. And so I'm kind of excited that we just evolved. We're going to consider it the week of evolving and ways not to settle in life.
mm-hmm.
And so it's going to be a great topic because you can do when you realize that things aren't working for you, the next step is of saying, okay, how can we get it to be working for you? Like,
Right.
Stop thinking about what you don't want and think of what you do want. And focusing more on verbiage is huge. Wouldn't you say, Brian?
I don't think it's verbiage. I think it starts from the foundation. I mean,
Right.
obviously, what you tell yourself does move into it, but it doesn't start there. That's the daily practice.
Right.
But that's not the. It's got to be a foundation, just like building a house, right?
Absolutely.
How you determine what you want to do and who you want to be starts to, come from within. And, I know some people or whatever that, they want answers to things in life or whatever, but what they don't realize is that an answer might fill a void now, but the answer is not going to give them it's not going to give them the foundation. I mean, that's much more deeply rooted into something much greater than just an answer, and I think that's, it's very easy for me to pick that out.
Yeah, I mean, I think we all got stages in life that, we spend time fumbling and falling, and it's like getting on a bike.
Mm-hmm.
You got to realize what level you have to be in the center of both sides all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And having that center comes from practice. It comes from taking your life experiences and feel so blessed and grateful that you had those experiences so that you don't have to have those experiences again if you don't want to repeat them. It's so...
And you have to choose them. You have to choose it every day, because how you show up every day is going to either further that or take away from that. But it's your choice. And so settling to me is a manifestation of something that you tell yourself that you're going to do. Nobody else is forcing upon you what you can and can't do. Their influence can definitely limit that or either make it abundant or make it scarce.
Well, I had to realize that things I took part in, that brought shame or kept me from being empowered to be and speak my voice. Mm-hmm. I have to own that up first, and say, hey, I wasn't strong enough to be that voice. I let my emotions dictate my actions and taking actions. Mm-hmm. So, Brian, is that the best book to begin with on your journey?
So, Brian, what is the best book to begin with the journey of what kind of man do I want to be? Let me ponder that, Tracy, and I'll let you know here as we're talking about today. What kind of man do I want to be? I'll have to think on that, and I will have an answer for you by the end of the show. How about that?
Ooh, I love it. But seriously, it comes down to, thanks for that question, Tracy. I like that. She goes, I need help. Oh, she needed help with her son.
I need help with my son.
Okay, that's why she's asking.
Okay.
Not helping for a friend, but she's a good mama. She's concerned about...
Tracy, if you can explain a little bit more about particular what it is that might offer me, a trigger a mental trigger to guide you in the right direction. If you could share, you can be as discreet as you want or whatever, but what in particular, is it attitude? Is it belief? What is it? Right now, my options are educate him or kill him.
No, you did not mean that.
No.
But seriously, it really is. Sometimes, you got to have that breakdown to have that breakthrough. And you definitely need to know that we're just having experiences. And when we realize that experience doesn't have to be our life sentence. And I thought, I got married, I had 3 girls, I'm stuck here, I'm committed to this. And then things happen and, things have to break down to have breakthroughs. But, it really impacts the children and people around you. And I think it really starts with, I quoted myself from the wet wood thing. I came up with this and I posted it on my Facebook today, but I wanted to bring it up. It's you're the spark. Surround yourself with a kindred kindling spirit to help ignite your fire within. So I think it starts with the support system of people that allow you to love you and support you while you're figuring out what your next step is in life, what it is, what direction you want. Find that silent time, that quiet time that we talked about, and start creating what you want. Stop thinking about in that quiet time all the things that went wrong. That's not the time for those things. The time is to give yourself love, to give yourself patience, to give yourself that pep talk. And if you have to think about, okay, what would I tell my friend in this situation? So be it. Do it that way. But talk to yourself.
Well, Tracy, right now, it's like I think a book is an avenue, but I would rather take a daily practice over a book, right? Because obviously a book, you read it, who knows if he'll take it seriously.
Yeah.
But I think that there's a lot of dimensions here. It's like, okay, what is his friend structure, right? Where is he at? Like, who does he rely on when it comes to support and mentorship, right? I don't know the circumstances, but I'm just unpacking this in how I think that a foundation is a whole bunch of pieces put together over a period of time. It's not read this book, it'll all be great.
Right now, what I say to anybody that's lost in there and that, oh my gosh, my classmate, Skinner, my little brother.
Hey, Michael.
Thanks. Welcome to be here. The problem, or what I think is really important for people to realize, is when you just look at your life and it's not what you want it to be, you truly need to go and say, okay, what do I want it to be? And that's the problem. When you're not asking the right questions and you're just settling with what you have, you get more of what you have and not what you want.
Correct.
And so, so Mikey said, hi.
Brian.
We were in audio visual classes together back in the day.
Cool.
He used to print from Baby. Anyways, that was our copy machine. It was called Baby. Anyways, back to this is that when you realize that you are not doomed, you're not imprisonment from your past, that you're not defined by your past. I mean, look at the people that serve in prison that come out. They served their sentence. They deserve to have the right to start a new life and not be held by your past. Shit, if I held by my past, that wouldn't be good, man. I'll tell you what. It's just, or to be labeled by it or anything.
Well,
Go
ahead, Lynn. Go ahead.
I'm just saying we need to start with truly the fundamental of the every day we have a clean slate. Every day we can create what we want and think more of what we want and let go of the rest. So go ahead, Brian.
I mean, like Tracy, the more we unpack this, and yes, I will have a book for you, but it's not one thing, right? It's like somebody that believes in your son. I mean, outside of yourself, the people he surrounds himself with. All of these pieces, all these pieces are relevant and necessary. Yeah. I'm not a big fan of the mindset of a cheerleader versus a coach, right?
Right.
If you're going to look at a cheerleader, okay, yes, they are there to find your pros and not identify or bring out your weaknesses. But to me, that just inflates somebody's ego. Now, granted, we all need to feel better about ourselves, but that's not a long-term solution, right? There is no, the second place is not as good as first place, right? And like in the words of Jeffrey Gitomer, it's like, in sales, second place is first loser, right?
Well, and the other thing is you may want to ask them questions like, what do you like? What would, I like mechanics. Okay, then, get YouTube things about mechanics. I mean, like whatever it is, a sport or what, just find where this spark is. What's going to spark him to go on the path of Google and YouTube to find things that will motivate him, inspire him. Then we're talking about give him a book. But you can't give somebody a book and have the words from a paper pop up to somebody and to get them going. I mean, paper and a book would really be good kindling, but let's be honest, that's not where it first goes. You have to find out what the flicker what the flicker is it in him? Yeah, write that down. Is what the flicker.
What? What the flicker?
What is it that's going to ignite that amber of him that's going to allow him to catapult to interest to investigate in? That's really where you need to start, Tracy. You really need to know that that my son never had a father figure that could help him develop and is alone in adulthood. He is not receptive at this point, but he gets there. Where can he start? Okay. Well, just go ahead.
Well, Tracy, depending on what his interests are, surround himself by people that do that. Get him a part of a club, right? Get him if he loves to woodwork, find somebody around where you live that you trust or know that could teach him how to do that kind of stuff and put him in charge of that, right? And the more practical it is, the more hands-on it is, the better, because then they actually get to do it. Now, is there a time and place for books? Yes, but depending on what he wants to learn to do or what he's interested in, you just have to do it. Like you can read a book about playing pool, but the whole fact remains is that you have to play pool in order to get good at it. Yeah. So I think that there's a time and place for those things, but I would almost even, if he deals with some kind of condition or something, or if he's moody or whatever, I would start with the daily practice of a quote, something that inspires him. Do it on a daily basis, right? I mean, Jeffrey Gitomer talks about these stories about one of the things you can do to motivate a team of people in a work environment. At first they're going to think you're nuts. You send off a quote, you handpick a bunch of quotes, you send them out to your people, at first they're going to think you're nuts, but then after a while they get used to it. Right. It's like, wow, they don't know what's doing it within them that makes them feel like a different person. And then he talks about, well, do it for 3 weeks and then skip a day. Right. Yeah. People are going to come to you and wonder where the quote is.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, that's happened to me. I used to give a lot of quotes and people have said, what? And I haven't done any. I wasn't inspired to do any quotes, but Mike Skinner says here, go ahead and read that if you don't mind.
Sure. Mike Skinner says, love you, Lynn. You are amazing. Also, every day we wake up and think we are competing with someone, when in reality, we need to look in the mirror and see our only competitor. When we realize this, we can accomplish anything. And see, Michael, you're so spot on, because obviously you don't have to be in business and all of that to know that it's like you're either competing or differentiating. And most people don't differentiate because it's uncertain. It's different. You move away from the fray of people because a majority of people are competing, right? Yeah. That's a part of our society, all the way from athletics to jobs to sales to whatever. But in terms of building somebody's belief system, there's not enough out there where kids are allowed to embrace who they are. Like on Disney Plus this morning, I was watching with my girlfriend's sister-in-law, I think it is. Yeah, so it's her cousin's wife. They have a little boy, and we're watching the show on Disney Plus called Float, right? And so it's this kid that has these magical powers where he floats. And so they go to this park, him and his dad or guardian go to this park, and the kid can't interact like a normal kid because he has this special ability, right?
Mm.
And so when he was just doing his thing, he got reprimanded for being himself. And his dad or guardian said, stop being different. Well, the kid started crying, and then the guardian knew he did something wrong, so he took him to the swing. He started swinging with him, and then he embraced that he had this special talent, so he's harmonizing with it versus taking it away. And so
Gotcha.
the whole moral of this thing is that society wants you to compete, but competing
Yeah.
leads in.
Yeah.
Competing leads to mediocrity and average.
So I want to acknowledge Mikey. I love you too. You inspire me just as well, and I look forward to this summer actually spending time with you because we got to be ourselves when we were in the audio video club. We were just little geeky people just hanging out and doing stuff. So he's my brother, and I'm very grateful for that. But truly, surrounding yourself with people that are not in competition with yourself, but that want to see you flourish, want to see you shine. That's what you need to see. And, I'm surrounding myself lately with a bunch of people in my tribe, and it's nice to know that I'm in peace and harmony with these people. I don't need to be forefront and say, this is who I am. Give me time to speak. And it's a good feeling, but also, you got to realize that you're surrounded by people that want you around because they don't have what you have.
Mm-hmm.
And so, with all those things said, you still got to be you, and don't worry about scarcity. We need to all be there. When the emotions get in the way of doing what you need to do, there's so many logistics. And then all of a sudden, that spark still has not the right kindling to fire up to where it needs. And that really is my focus of what I keep preaching, is the fact that let go of that wet wood. Wet wood's no good, people. You got in preparation for a good fire, for that spark, you need to start with the right tools. And the right tools are sometimes a coach, sometimes it's a lesson, sometimes it's all these different things. And it takes all those elements before you, and Mikey knows about building campfires, so he knows what I'm talking about here. But truly, you need to have the right tools before you go see yourself to the top, and that is surrounding yourself. And that's what I've been doing after the things I've been through. I've been surrounding me people that actually ignite my creativity, that let me be with them. Like Brian is one of them for me. Brian brings the best out in me. Brian just sits there and just be Brian and smile. And I just need that energy. He's my kindling. I mean, he's my kindred spirit. He just lets me, I could tell him everything. I mean, it's just, that's what you need, is someone around that's going to say, okay, Lynn, now go. And I'm like, okay. It's just, that's what you need. You need to find tools, whether it's self-help, whether it's a video, whether it's YouTube. There's so many different things. You can have a mentor and they don't even need to know you're their mentor. I mean, you can do this all anonymously, incognito, but get the tools you need to know that you're going in the direction you want, when you want. And, I'm 55 years old, and I can't go back and change when I didn't know things. I can't change back that that I wasn't the mom that my kids wanted. I checked out too many times on them, but I'm glad that they still love me. And so it's, oh, wait, hold. Energy. Lord, I thought you were running. You know what? This is so funny, Jerry. First of all, thank you, Jerry, for being here. I love you and you inspire me. And I just, you're in my heart. And the thing is that I'm allergic to caffeine. Caffeine doesn't work with me. I've got this as my natural high. I don't do coffee. I don't do coffee. So it's just my spirit. It's the people. It's the Bryans. It's the Tracys. It's the Jerry. It's just Mikey. It's just the people that that you resonate. We're a mirror of each other. We're a reflection of each other. We can see better who we are when we're around the right people, not the people that bring us down. So, Brian?
So, Tracy, I just put in the chat 5 books that stands out. Now, I don't know how old your son is, but these are books that I would highly recommend.
Wow, there you
You know,
go.
I mean, obviously the Little Gold Book of Yes Attitude by Jeffrey Gitomer. I mean, attitude is the foundation of your belief system. So if you don't have a great attitude, that's the foundation. That's one of the key things, right?
Uh,
That we're able to choose by being human beings is our attitude, our actions, and our thoughts. That when we break down everything we have control of, those are the only three things that we have available. And so why not start your son off with a positive mental attitude every day, right? The second one is A Road Less Traveled.
I love that book. It's been a long time since I read it.
And it's like some of these may not be age appropriate, but as early as possible, reinforce these books, because there's a reason why, Dale Carnegie, Earl Nightingale, The Strangest Secret, Thoughts Are Things, Napoleon Hill. There's a reason why these books are legendary. There's a reason why these people carved out a space as the pioneers of self-development.
Shoot,
So, go ahead, Lynn.
No, I think this would be a great. I mean, I've read some of these things, and I think that these are even great things to take out of a book and talk about later. I mean, that's just how important I think they are.
Yep.
So
I mean, you are the victim of the 5 closest. Yep, absolutely.
Yeah,
Yep,
so totally. It's I've woken into and stepped into, and Tracy said thank you.
My pleasure, Tracy.
I've literally, reminded of, sometimes you can learn all this stuff, Brian, and it's so jumbled in your head, and you think it's great at that moment and all these things, and then you don't do shit with it. And then one day it just all clicks, and then you're like, I have those point of references. But it's not until you have that point of reference in your mind that, okay, now do the shit or re-wake it up or whatever. So, I feel like I'm just revisiting that whole, Road Less Traveled. I want to go back and reread that,
Yep.
It's just when you realize that, just strip yourself to where you were and recreate yourself a new avatar. Like, just start there and start saying, okay, what do I need for my bank here? What do I need for my bank there? What do I need to make the person I want to be? And I'll tell you what, just changing my food habits and really, I mean, I was hooked on sugar, you guys. It was a sugar addict, and getting rid of that sugar has really left me very peaceful and very driven to the desires of being who I am, and not what I thought I was. And that's our hope for everybody else, huh, Brian?
I think it is, but you have to make the choice.
Absolutely.
You have to be the one that wants it. And I was with a dear friend of mine yesterday. My girlfriend got to meet with him and 2 other buddies that I haven't seen in a while. I mean, last time I saw one of them was at least 3 or 4 years ago, and he had cancer since then, and he's fully recovered. But just people I've met in the industry just by conferences, and everybody just meet it up. And he brought 2 other guys, and I'm like, man, I haven't seen either one of them. But he shared with me a valuable piece of information that I heard in a different way, and it's like everybody's on a different path, and it's like it really hit me that it's like, that's how I can let things go.
Yeah.
I can let go that it's like they're not on my path. Now, it doesn't mean their path is any less successful or there's no make wrong. It's just different, right?
Yeah.
And so not compete against, differentiate from is what Jeffrey Gitomer says, right? So differentiate from,
Right.
In your case, Tracy, what your son wants to do, what lights him up, right? And there's a word that I wrote down that has made a difference for me is immersion. Anything that people love to do, immerse themselves in it, right? If your son loves to mountain bike, or if your son loves to, I don't know, whatever he loves to do, get him immersed in that realm, that discipline, those people that can build him up and can bring him into a family of sorts, right? They can make him feel like, whatever that is.
He's part of the tribe. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Connect yourself to a tribe. That's why I got that whole campfire thing going in my head. That's the analogy. I moved from wipers, intermittent wipers, to this. And it's truly, go ahead.
Well, and it's like when you look at kids growing up today, it's like, okay, it's starting earlier and earlier and earlier when they're starting to mold kids into athletes with the hope that they're going to get a scholarship and then go on to the pros. But they're immersing that kid in. I mean, I have a second cousin of mine who is great at fast pitch softball. And it's like, okay, the season gets done after all these rigorous tournaments of being all over the Midwest. And then no later than a month after the season gets done, then they're doing batting cage practice and they're doing drills. And that's immersion, that you put that person in a space that they're doing something they love to do and they're working at it, right? That's a great way for, Tracy, in your case, for your son to build up his confidence, his belief system, and really, and also though really make strides in what's really important to him in life, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't mean it won't change, but at least you're matching him with something that inspires him,
right?
That at the present moment of his life, it has his calling in mind. So hopefully that helps.
And hopefully it's good advice for everybody else as far as ways of not settling in life, is say to yourself, is this what you want to go down in history for your last part of life, that you were, it just brings down to the people that are staying in relationships that they've outgrown. And I'm not invoking divorces and things like this, but let's just be real. There's so many people. Oh, Brian or Mikey, you get going. Call me when I get a chance. I certainly will. I love you. God bless. Bill the will. I love that. Amen. I love that. But it truly is, it comes down to, thank you, Mikey. It just really comes down to, let's give ourselves a break. Let's just start over and fresh and take our experiences, but don't be stuck in the emotion. Get into the action of what you want, and screw those people that tell you can't do that. Realize that they're telling you, hey, idiot, guess what? When you change your life, don't leave me. No, They want you being stuck and brainwashed. My daughter, 31 years old, said, Mom, you are brainwashed. And I'm like, you know what, honey? You were right. I was brainwashed. I was being submissive to a life that wasn't good for me. I mean, shit. I was just, I was knocking. I had too much wet wood around me.
Oh, jeez. Wow. Wet wood around me. Oh, boy.
Dude.
Happy Monday. Happy Monday.
But seriously, I just try to drive this home. I'm trying to drive the fact that when you realize your worth, you realize you may need them, but they certainly the hell need you too.
Right.
And
especially like Tracy in your son's circumstances, that unless, unfortunately, when you're trying to fit in and see where your group is and whatnot, is that you have to conform into you potentially have to conform into something that you don't really care about, right?
Yeah.
It's either like you're with everybody, with the herd, or against the herd, so to speak, right?
Yeah.
And so by having your son identify what's important to him, he's allowed to become immersed in it, right? And it's like, obviously, once you're taking a stand for your son to find those resources and find those people that really bring out the best in him and really what he wants to do as he grows up, right? There are no magic pills, and it's like, I don't subscribe to the magic pill where it's like, oh, I'll just do this thing for him. Well, wait a minute. You don't build a foundation with some wood, right? It takes drawings, it takes plans, it takes concrete, it takes all these things. And it's like, okay, by doing that rigorous work up front, is it worth it to have a house that's, that is solid for 150 years, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think that us as human beings are the same way, and obviously, is it a thought in our head to take the easy way out or find a magic pill? Of course it is. But it might fill your needs now, but it's not going to do it for the long term.
Absolutely. It says you need them, but they really just want them. The thing is that people will either pull you up or pull you down.
Correct.
What you need to find are those that will let you be the seed that you are, that will blossom into what you're meant to be.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what Brian does for me. I mean, I just love Brian. And I appreciate him so much. And I see his personal growth, and I see that all he wants to do is, you know, you can't help it when you have realized the keys in your life that you want to share them with so many people. And Brian, to echo what you said earlier, as far as we do have to realize that people are on their mission. We can't want it for them. They need to find it and want it for themselves. But I rather be a fisherwoman, if you want to call it, or fisherman. I don't care. But I rather show you how to feed yourself than to feed you for a day. I'd rather show you how you can feed yourself for every day. And by that is, you got to go through shit in your life. You got to own up your shit. You know, don't let anybody, Brian is a good guy. Yep. Love him.
Thanks, Charles.
Yeah. But you know, you got to realize that you surround yourself with people that are having their, you know, Brian has his path. I have my path. But the point is that we allow each other to grow and be and love. We're, you know, we may not agree with each other, but it doesn't matter. We respect. I know I do, and I believe he does. We have unconditional love. We're centered on, you know what? We got to love this person how they are, because the more you do give that love to somebody, the better that they blossom. It's like, what is it? It's like having fertilized dirt. You got to have that fertilization. You know, if you put shit in it, you're going to get a shitty rose. Right. If you put the robust stuff, it's going to be nurtured. It's going to shine, and it's going to be the best rose you can ever imagine. I mean, it just
like one of our words last week with Christopher was interpretation. Yeah. What is my interpretation of my ideal life? Right. You know, now obviously, if somebody doesn't understand it, that's one thing. Number two, does it really matter? Is this person in your world anyways? Because if somebody's truly in your world, they may not know what it looks like or understand why you're doing it, but they support you regardless. Mm-hmm. But there's going to be a multitude of other times that, in terms of people that they don't get it, they don't want to understand it, they just know that you're not like them and they feel jealous.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, you know,
and I have surrounded myself by people that are jealousy or actually just treated me mean so that I would feel less than. And I don't do that shit no more. You know, I just matter of fact. I mean, I'm admitting to everybody, you know, I'm a strategic visionary person. And I mean, I'm with intuitive messages. And when people ask me what they need to hear, I just mirror them and I give them back what they already know, but they don't understand. They need to see what they're seeing in the mirror, and what I see is what's going on with them. And so I'm just, you know, I get into this clubhouse rooms and I tell people this stuff, and then they get defensive. I'm like, wait, whoa. You're getting defensive with yourself. I'm just confirming who you are, what you're feeling. And now just work on those things. And if, you know, it's like, I like playing devil advocate too. It's like somebody says, oh, I don't like that. You're right. I wouldn't like that neither. And they're like, no, but it's got this good feature. Well, there you go. Think about the good features. Because I was just complaining about something, you're going to be defensive. I mean, truly, it's a psychological roller coaster that you're going through. And there's just so many ways to learn and to get to the finish line. We all can get to the finish line, but it's just a matter of when you get there. It's like a maze, you know, you got that maze in life that you're like, shit, how do I get there? There's roadblocks in between, but until you get rid of those roadblocks, or you stop yourself and say, okay, I'm going to take this pattern. We all start somewhere and we can end up in the finish line.
Mm-hmm. Right. It's a daily journey. Mm-hmm. But it's like, I can't stress it enough about how you have to be willing to go against the norm, because mm-hmm. I know that, I think it's Jim Rohn that said, it's like, okay, if you don't have a plan, Another person likely will. And what is their plan for you? Not much.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
So,
so are you going to take control? Are you going to take control of your life and what you can make it on your terms in your own way with no, and give up the fact that it's like, I don't have to answer to anybody. They
yeah.
may not understand it, but it doesn't mean it has to create friction or indifference.
No, it's, I've just lately, I've been doing these confidence tones and stuff, and, the vibrations and stuff. I'm just getting so blessed with being more calm and more at peace, and realizing that, it just, let's see, new friends and came across. I don't know. I don't know who this person is, but I think,
Who is it? What do we got?
I don't know. It's whatever.
Oh, okay.
Please send me a friend request. It's rude for me not to send friend requests without a consent. Well, that's very nice of you.
Oh, well.
I wish my family was here to hear this.
Well, you can share it out. You can
Yes.
share it with them.
Yes, and we are on YouTube. If you look up Real and Raw with Lynn and Brian, we do show up on the channel. So, which, by the way, we're going to start building that out here a little bit. But you guys, it really, we know that you're all on different journeys, but if we could be a sliver of making you be curious as to why we have so much peace and why we let our past be an example, but we're not stuck in our past, it would be really awesome. I don't know what happened to Brian, but I'm sure he'll be right back. But I want to say that we are so blessed to have you part of our tribe, part of what we're doing here. Welcome back. I missed you.
Yeah.
I can't have a show without Brian.
Oh, I hit the wrong button. My bad.
But seriously, it's one of those things where so I know for me that when I have to make a decision or when I'm thinking of something, I normally go in a panic mode for a minute. Oh my gosh, like the show is in 2 minutes. I'm like, I get stuck. And even when I have an asthma attack or anything, I get stuck with going down that rabbit hole. Or I say, Lynn, calm down. It's okay. And think. And then, oh, okay, this is what I got to do. And then I got to give myself permission. Okay, everybody will wait for you, because I have that thing of not being on time and this and that. But sometimes I have to give myself that pass to say it's okay, because if I don't calm myself down, I am not worth anything to anyone else. So I'm learning that I have to calm that down and say, shut up, 1, 2, 3, go, and I'm good. Yep. So
just like you, Lynn, the biggest thing that I'm marinating on, and I also have an accountability partner with my girlfriend, to use that word, different path, right? Yeah. So that all of a sudden it becomes reinforced, and I immerse myself in that, because I beat myself up when people don't show up a certain way, or when they can't see what gold there is. If you put in the hard work and you do it for a long period of time, here's what you can have too, right?
Yeah.
That's my view on it, but that might not be their view or their path.
Right. And you still, like I said, you still got to love them if they're late. You still got to realize that they're not caught up to your speed. Mm-hmm. But you loving them while they're still down is a blessing to them, because by the time they elevate to where you're at, they know that you really love them. You know, that you got the surface love, right? You got the surface of, oh yeah, it's okay. And then turn around, that asshole was freaking late and blah, 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 to it's okay. And knowing that they're on their path and that you can still love them despite it.
Well, and they're on that path, and it's just like, okay, if you've determined that, we face resistance all the time. We face, status quo. Like, I'm not going to be status quo, or I'm going to do more than average in my life, right? We face that risk all the time. But how many times you beaten down for how many times you get up and get after it again, right? Anybody that is up to big things in life are going to be beaten down. I mean, there's countless achievers throughout the history of our world where they were beaten down more times than, Michael Jordan shot, missed more baskets than he made.
Right. Well,
I mean, there's countless examples of that, but people don't want to, are you willing to, are you willing to do those 3 things that one of my coaches and mentors, Mark and Rebecca, said, the 3 questions, how hard do you want to work? How fast do you want to get there? How good do you want to be?
And being all those things, remember, you have people around you that support you, but if they're not at the level that you're at,
Yep.
Don't be an asshole and be where you're condescending to them or thinking you're better for them. Don't be that, because you're missing the point here. You're missing the fact that there's always going to be a little friction, but you still got to love them and let go. It all comes down to realizing, and people say to me, how can you love this person, or how can you respect this person? Because I follow the love for them, because if I look like an asshole to somebody, I want them to have a little love for me, because they don't get me. They don't understand. Everything is covenant by love and patience and being kind. And if we could do that, there's times I call a place because I'm upset or frustrated. First thing I do is I go, hey, Brian, this is Lynn, and I want to apologize beforehand. I'm upset right now. And so please know, Brian, you have nothing to do with it, but I'm venting. So I'm apologizing beforehand. And I do that because in the way I talk, I may show some anger or upset, but they know right away that it has nothing to do with them, that I need this space to vent my concerns or my issues. And it's always went well, because they have put themselves in my shoes for a minute and said, I could see how you see it that way. Well, I'm going to rectify this for you. And I've gotten so much help. And then my gratitude to them is like, thank you so much for letting me vent. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for caring, for helping me. I appreciate you so much. Because I don't want their interpretation when I come and say, hey, this freaking internet ain't working, and blah, 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 blah. You're just bringing that energy of, I don't like being around you, or whatever, So, it's just a matter of how you approach things, and kindness and love to tell people when you're angry, but that it's not about them is just as important. So failure is being, go ahead,
closer
Brian.
to success if you choose to get up and try again.
Absolutely.
Well, like Babe Ruth said, it's like somebody, I'm paraphrasing, but somebody that's hard to beat is one that never gives up.
Yeah, absolutely.
Unless you say I'm done and I'm throwing in the towel, that fire burns,
And the thing is, it does take people to be caught in the boxing ring in the corner and be beaten down to finally say, shit, the only way this is going to stop is unless I come out, fighting my way out of the corner. Right. And that's how it's been for me. That's how I'm like, finally, screw it, blah, blah, blah. I got to hit down, to the bottom and move myself up.
Well, and it's like Bill, my mentor, and I've known him for over 20 years, and I've a great coach, man. I mean, he's just an amazing guy. Okay. And he imparted to me yesterday that what you want is available. Are you going to fall? Are you up to a bigger game than other people? Just because somebody's not up for that big game doesn't mean they're any less. It's just that that's not their deal. That's not what lights them up.
Yeah.
And that's
exactly.
Okay.
Absolutely.
But just remember, the higher the game you're playing in life, no matter what age you're at and how much you hold yourself accountable to whatever it is, the bigger the breakthroughs, the bigger the breakdowns.
Yeah.
Just the way it works.
Yeah.
And it's like, would you rather, and we've talked about risks in previous shows about calculated risk. I don't believe that you can't calculate a risk. You either take it or you don't. Right? It's like jump. When it's like, ooh, what's the probability that this risk will pay off?
No, you see, and I think we spoke about that too, is people's intention. Actually, I was speaking in the clubhouse room, and it's I think it's important to echo here, is that people's intentions they put out there with malice, malicious, or personal gain intentions don't realize that it's going to show whether you use fertilizer or not. It's going to show the genuinity, because you're going to say, well, I planted that seed and it freaking didn't come out like everybody else's. It's just like when you take rice on 2 different jars or something. You give love to one and you reject the other. That I forget that analogy. But
Okay.
what I'm saying here is that when you realize that you're trying to have a good look like a good intention of helping everybody, but then you realize that your intentions weren't genuine.
Yeah.
Well, gee, why didn't it? Because you planted that seed with this creative this, instead of saying planting that seed and letting it grow, guaranteeing that it's going to grow, and wait to see the fruition, wait to see what flowers it's going to bring, what fruits it's going to bring, you know. But if you gave it every day, ha ha ha, greed, or I don't give a shit, you're going to see you stunt your own nourishment of that tree because it didn't have the nutrients that it needed to feed it without intentions of what to expect out of it.
Mm-hmm. Well, you know, there are so many analogies that pertain. I mean, you know, obviously water plant the seeds in whatever, you know, season. And I'm butchering, you know, the context of philosophy, but you plant the seeds. You don't expect the next day you harvest it. Just like relationships, learning, education, passion, all of it.
A lot of evil people have realized the law of attraction per se.
Right.
And they have taken it manipulated. So now it takes the good guys to plant the seeds and trust that they can counteract the malicious out there. Right. And that the people will see the difference. Because you can have 2 lettuces, you can have 2 different apples, but guess what? The taste and the texture of the 2 different crops, one will be better than the other, and I guarantee it.
Well, and what the intention is that if a person is truly committed to the intention and it's above and beyond themselves, you know, Martin Luther King, Gandhi, the people that their calling and their purpose was bigger than themselves, if your intention is like that, your fire never burns out because you know, you don't even know where it's going to go. But you do know that this is where your heart's telling you to be. Yeah. Now, if it's on the flip side, if you ever wonder like, wow, this isn't paying off, it's not coming fast enough, usually it's the urgency and the lack of patience that'll bring up if an intention is not being fulfilled, and it might be a little self-indulgent or self-fulfilling versus you don't know what it's going to be like, but to change an industry, to change a population is not an overnight thing.
But remember, as long as you're going to be whatever that seed is, it doesn't matter where it's planted. Correct. Because it's always going to grow. Look at the flowers among the rocks and among mountains. If it's meant to grow, it's going to grow. Well, and it's going to spread.
And it's implied that you're going to face, you know, in the flowers and the plants, you're going to face rain. You're going to face flooding, wind, snow.
Challenges.
And so like in the real world, that would be, you know, somebody trying to fit into a group of people or moving to a place that they don't know, and they actually have to be vulnerable to meet people, right?
Yeah.
You're going to face those things, but it's like at the end of the day, where are you at mentally? Where are you at in your heart? You know? Yeah. But here's the thing, is that the breakdowns are usually what take people out, but then it also makes them examine what their purpose is. Is it fulfilling enough? Is it not? And the ones that have to really take it to heart are the ones where they might not be doing this for the most authentic reasons.
Right. And that'll always be inevitable. That'll be always visible. That will always see the test of time. That's why I have no fear to be among the thorns. I have no fear to be among the weeds. I have no fear of those things because I am love and I am light, and I'm you know, I am kind of Pollyanna, but I love being Pollyanna because every situation, there's reasons to love when others see that there isn't. And I will continue to spread the love everywhere. And I am not stuck to see how, if it grows up to without, you know, whatever, but we need to be that beacon for everyone else. And so don't settle. If it doesn't feel right in your heart and your soul and your gut, don't settle with knowing that. How many people out there that realize it's like a nagging something? You have that nagging desire in your heart that you keep forgetting, because you can't tell me your spirit doesn't tell you what you should be doing or what your spirit wants. And you keep saying, no, I'm going to stay here because there's just, if I do that, there could be so many things that could go wrong. So let me just be a creature of habit. And, I'm not going to go where I know my heart really wants to be and my desire. Oh, but I'm going to stay here because I'm a creature of habit. Nah, well, shit, you're never going to grow if you stay where something else is calling you to be and you don't take that chance. I love success stories. I love even relationship stories. I love stories where you hear people say, well, shit, this happened, but this happened. But what happened? You finally got your heart's desires.
Well,
It
you can't have
really,
one without the other.
exactly,
You can't win big without losing big.
exactly.
No
So,
more.
yeah, so I say if something really truly going to be, and it's meant to be, where the hell do you think that goes? If it's meant to be, let it fly. If it's meant to come back, it will. I mean, I believe in that shit. I believe in the fact that, you know what? If they want to go check the other grass and see if it's greener, go for it. I'm still going to be here. I'm going to still be here. But don't think when you come back, I'm going to be like, really? You didn't know what you had. But that's okay because they didn't have a comparison.
Right.
People need to have a comparison. When I was younger, I had some really great guys. They were awesome. They put me on a pedestal. They were sweet and kind and loving. And I wasn't appreciative of it. I just figured, oh, they're all like that or whatever. This is boring. This isn't fun. I didn't realize how they cared for me. I mean, like I was, I broke some hearts and I feel bad that I broke some hearts, but shit, I had to learn my lesson to appreciate a good guy. I'm just being honest. I'm being real. I mean, I'm sorry I broke I was a heartbreaker, but it just, I didn't want to be caught. I still don't want to be caught, but at least if a nice guy's talking to me, I'm going to talk to him. I'll flirt. I don't care, but at least I know my value. I know my point. And I'm not going to allow anybody to go ahead and put me in the corner, so to speak. I'm either they're going to, enhance me, be with me, and let me just be the social butterfly I can be. I'm an introvert, extrovert. What can I tell you?
Right.
I need to get in my little cocoon at night and get out and fly out in the morning. But it's just you got to find whatever balance. But don't settle in your life for anything than what you feel you deserve. And that's the other thing. If you feel you deserve convicting yourself and making you feel like shit for the shit you did, don't shit on yourself.
Right.
because seriously, yeah, write that down. Don't shit on yourself because that does not help anybody or anything. And I say this from the bottom of my heart. If you guys, I mean, I'm going to end up starting another show that says, love and let go with Lynn. I mean, I really want to help those that need to be helped, but I'm not going to feed you for a day. I'm going to be a fisher and be hard with you and tell you how it is and give you the wake up call. If you don't want to do anything with it, that's fine. But I'm not going to waste my energy with somewhere that it's not received either. So,
well, one thing more I'm going to say about this is that if you're in a person that doesn't know how to do it, how to not settle in life, well, that's the journey. Are there people and coaches that can help you? Yes. But number one, you have to be willing to be vulnerable to talk about it. Right.
Yeah.
Number two is that if you don't have the firm skin that it's like, I see something nobody else sees and I'm still going to follow it anyway.
Yeah.
That's going to be the journey.
You get a coach and they're telling you what you need to do. And they're telling you, this is your problem. And you're like, you sit there to fight or say excuses. I'll be like, Brian, I went to my coach and do you know what they said? And you're defending your situation. You might not be ready for a freaking coach. Just so save your money and move on.
Well, and it's interesting to me, and I know that we talked about this last week, but it's a paradigm indifference. Let's just call it that. It's like those people that are settling, right? Once they realize what it takes to do what others are doing, number one, they're completely quiet, right? They might muddle something underneath their breath and their words because they're like, holy crap. But they're always going to have that card of whatever it is. I wasn't raised the right way. I wasn't this. I wasn't that, right? And it's like, they never want to acknowledge that doing the courses, doing the classes, reading two pages every day in a book, right? No, they don't want to acknowledge that. They just want to be like, well, I want that too, but I wasn't raised properly or whatever, right? There's a tendency for those that settle, that want something more, that when you lay out the facts to them, they're quiet, but they still are not content on that's what it is. It's every day grinding it out,
It's
doing those things.
The resistance.
The resistance, but also are you willing to do what it takes? Are you willing to pay the price? Did you pay the price today? Did you pay the price tomorrow? And go ahead.
I'm sorry. Those are the spots where you check yourself. Mm-hmm. There's checkpoints to say, okay, you really want it because this is what you got to do. You got to jump those hurdles one way or another. Mm-hmm. So absolutely. But
and then the flip side of that is like the people that are willing to settle for whatever reason. I understand it might be overwhelming. You might not feel right about it. You're going to have to remove some people from your life to get where you are. And it's like, yeah, there's a reality to that, right?
Oh, yeah.
Through every phase of life, like look at life like a ladder, right? The higher you want to pursue, there's going to be some people that you may lose contact with. Now, it's not a deliberate thing where you're having an argument or a fight, but you might drift away from those people. I think drift would be a good word, right?
Yeah,
and it doesn't mean that they're bad or whatever. Driftwood. There we go. Yeah, driftwood. Oh, that's perfect. Driftwood.
Yeah.
Lynn has got wood on the mind today. Take it for what it is.
I have a point and I have a mission. I'm shaking the awakened tree.
Lynn's word of the week is driftwood. Okay.
An awakened tree. You can use that one too.
Awakened tree. Man, I got a full page of these. Pamela Aubrey's going to be like, oh my goodness, what did I want?
I know. Oh, which by the way, I want you to know, we do have our third person for the third week.
Who do we got?
You ready for this? This is a big one. Sherry Gideon.
Oh, okay. Sherry Gideon. I'm trying to.
Gideon's. Yeah, she's in our Grow Live, and she's it's
the
really
name's
cool.
So familiar. I'm blanking on on her face. Okay.
So we got
so but then anybody that is willing to do what it takes and pay the price every day, they don't backtrack or really have anything to do with or even acknowledge that somebody's trying to bring them down a notch, right? Mm-hmm. They've just put on that layer. And it doesn't mean like they're ignoring somebody or whatever, but they know that they've overcame so much to get where they are that they're not going to, it's kind of like the crab, right? Where the crab is trying to get out of the jar and everybody pulls them back down. They're immune to that because that's what they've had to deal with that on the daily to get where they are now.
You just need to acknowledge it. You need to acknowledge that switch and that realize, oh, this is the crab situation. Nobody want crabs, so get away from the other crabs.
And look at it this way. Anybody that is up to bigger things in life, they may have less people that interact with them. You know what I mean? Like the impact that they get from less people that are on that path is huge.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like if we look at the funnel, there's a lot of people that are willing to settle. But then when you start climbing up that ladder, less and less people are willing to do that because it takes more of yourself. Mm-hmm. Years of commitment, years of working every day, 365, 18 hours a day to get where they are. How many people are going to sign up for that, just at a distance, but then actually once they're in it and they say it and they're like, wow, I'm not there yet. Well, anybody that knows that this is, you're not an overnight success. It takes 20 years to do that, right? 10,000 hours, whatever you believe in or resonates well with you. They know that it's like, wow, they're one day closer to getting where they've never thought they could go.
Yeah.
But it's not work. They know that that's what it's going to take. They know every day that they're going to have to bust their butt to get where they want to be, but they see something nobody else sees.
Absolutely.
The way an industry can be, the way that they can be, the way that they can help people above and beyond themselves to create a legacy that even if they don't get acknowledged for things, that they don't care about that. They care about putting their world and everything related to them in a better place. So today's action step is for our first day in the week of evolving is what's one way you can get out of your own way to complete something on your list.
That's awesome.
You
That's
know?
awesome, Brian.
You know, what's one way you can get out of your own way? Because really what's holding us back from doing a project? You know,
Yeah.
it's ourselves. It's not because the weather needs to be a certain way. It's not warm enough in my house. I didn't get enough sleep. We have the answers to all this stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. We have answers which compile to excuses.
Yes.
You know, so Brian, today has been great. Like every day, hanging out with you, my friend, my brother.
Absolutely.
I just love you so much. This just sparks my heart. I'm just humbled and love your passion to help other people too, and to give. You're not letting all that knowledge go to waste. You're sprinkling and sharing with the world, and I couldn't be happier that you are.
Well, and I need to acknowledge Lynn for interviewing me, and this turned into a show. And, you know, we're just being honest and upfront with all of you. So thanks for being on the journey with me. And to all of our loyal listeners, I mean, our usual suspects that show up every day. And then to anybody catching the replay, we would not be here without you. So we're thanking you for your viewership and your support.
Absolutely. So stay tuned for tomorrow. Thanks. Bye.